Okay, so for the first one, is there a GCF?
No.
No. How many terms? Two. So you have to do difference of squares. So what's that going to factor into? Yep, x plus 2, x minus 2. All right, number 2, is there a GCF? No, 3 terms, so just find the two numbers because there's nothing in front. So what are the two numbers? Yeah, 5 and 3. Number 3, is there a GCF? No. 3 terms, there is something in front, so what do I have to do?
Multiply by 18.
Yep, multiply that to the 18, so we're doing bottoms up here. X squared minus 21x minus 72. Okay, and then what two numbers work for that?
Is it like
Yes, except for reverse it. So negative 24 and positive 3 for the negative 21. Okay, and then what?
divide them by 4?
Mm-hmm. Divided by 4. Okay, so that's going to be x minus 6 for x plus 3. Any questions? Okay. So, if you remember 11.1, we were solving with square roots, so that's when we didn't have the bx term in the middle. So like this kind of thing, solving with square roots. Now we're going to focus on ones that have the bx. So we use factoring for this method. So your objective is students will be able to solve quadratic equations by factoring. So the types of factoring that we're mainly going to focus on are the ones for the trinomials. So either this one where you just find the two numbers or bottoms up, because the two-term ones we solve with the first method that we already learned, and then the grouping ones aren't quadratic. They're cubic equations, so that doesn't apply here. Okay? So we use factoring and also a specific math property to do this method. That property is the zero product property. It's like the main one you guys are going to hear a lot in math moving forward. So what that property basically says is that if you have two things, so I'm going to show empty boxes, if you have two things and you multiply them together and you get 0, what can you say about those two things? One of them is 0. Could both of them be 0?
No.
Well, 0 times 0 is 0? Yeah. So that's basically saying one or both must be 0. If you're multiplying them together and getting 0. Does that make sense? Yes? So what we're basically doing for this method is all of our equations are going to equal 0 so that we can kind of apply this property. 0 is the only number that this works with. So it has to equal 0. And then we're basically going to figure out what x values are going to make each of the pieces 0 to account for all the different options to make the whole thing total out to 0. Okay? So we're going to actually start in the middle of the problems. I'm going to teach you the new stuff, and then we're going to go in and add the beginning part back on that you guys already know how to do the whole problem. Okay? So these ones are already factored. So I'm just going to show you what you do once you already have them factored. Okay? So once you have them factored, so think about that property. I'm multiplying two things together here and getting 0. So we know that either this piece has to be 0 or this piece has to be 0 or both, correct? Yes? Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to set all of the pieces equal to 0 and figure out what x values are going to make that happen. So we're going to do x plus 1 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0. And solve both of those. How do I solve the first one? Yep, minus 1. So x equals negative 1 is one of your solutions to that equation. And then what about the other one? Yep, add 5. So x equals 5. So you have two possible answers if either one of those x's, if you plug it in, it's going to make the whole thing 0. Got it? That's pretty much it. So you just keep doing that. So on this one, and x equals 5. Yeah. So 2x plus 3 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. So do minus 3. 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2. And keep it as a fraction. X equals negative 3 over 2 will be one of your solutions. And then add 4. So x equals 4 will be your other answer. This is like an excessive amount of examples, I feel like, but. All right, next one, same thing. 2y plus 1 equals 0. Y plus 14 equals 0. So this one minus 1. 2y equals negative 1. Divide by 2. Y equals negative 1/2 for one of your answers. And then subtract 14. So y equals negative 14 for your other answer. And then the last one. 7n minus 2 equals 0. 5n minus 4 equals 0. So we're going to add 2. 7n equals 2. Divide by 7. N equals 2/7. And then you're going to add 4 and then divide by 5. So you get n equals 4/5 for your other answer. Got it? Okay, you guys do this one. Okay, we good to go over it? Yeah, okay, so you would set up 4t plus 1 equals 0 and t minus 2 equals 0. So for the first one, you would get negative 1/4. And then for the second one, you would get 2. Are we good there?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Moving on now. So go ahead and go to the next example. So now we're going to do the whole thing. So we have the whole equation with all 3 pieces, the trinomials. So what you're going to do first, I'm just going to write the steps over on the side. Step 1, you need to make sure that your equation equals 0, okay? So on A, does our equation equal 0? Yes. Okay, so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to factor. So let's go over to the m squared minus 5m minus 14. Is there a GCF? No, and then there's no number in front, so just find the 2 numbers for negative 14 and negative 5.
-7 and 2.
Yep, negative 7 and 2. M minus 7, m plus 2 equals 0. And then from there, you're going to do what we just did. So solve, set up, and solve. So you're going to do m minus 7 equals 0, and m plus 2 equals 0. So add 7, m equals 7, and subtract 2, m equals negative 2. Make sense? Yeah? Okay. All right, so then for B, does our equation equal 0? Yes, so let's factor that side. So what's that going to factor into?
5.
What'd you say?
5 and 4.
Yes, but which one's going to be negative?
Negative 4.
Yep, negative 4. So p plus 5, p minus 4.
Doesn't matter which one's negative.
Yes, because it has to add up to the middle. Yeah.
This is 1, right?
Positive 1, yeah. So we'll do p plus 5 equals 0. P minus 4 equals 0. So for your two answers, you should get negative 5 and positive 4. Make sense? Yeah? Okay, go ahead and do this one. Okay, ready? Okay, does it equal 0? Yep. Okay, how is that factored out? 5 and 3, yep. Okay, and then set them both equal to 0. X plus 5 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. So what two answers do you get? X equals what? Negative 5 and, yep. Okay, I'm gonna go do a little sidebar here, okay? Just so you can start to in your head connect some things together. So in 11.1 we did graphing. Well, kind of, we didn't graph, but like we looked at the graph of these and we had to like look and find what the solutions were based on the graph, right? Where were those solutions? The x-axis, yep. So our solutions were where our parabola was crossing through the x-axis. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yes? So this is translating that same way. So if I were to graph this, which you will learn how to graph this at the end of this unit, but just so you kind of like understand how this is all kind of connecting, these would be the x-intercepts for this parabola. So it would be passing through negative 5 and negative 3, like that. So just because on the test or on the review guide and the test also, I know it asks like for the solutions based on your graph, and everyone always has trouble like even understanding what that means. Okay, so just a little side information. All right, next one. Does it equal 0?
No.
It does not. So here is what you have to do. We're gonna have to move whatever that piece is over to the other side to make it equal 0. So how am I going to move negative 49?
Plus 49.
Yep, plus 49. And make sure that when you do this, you put everything in standard form. So we're going to have x squared plus 14x plus 49 equals 0. So now it equals 0. Now let's factor the left side. So what am I going to use? 7 and 7. Now, when I set this up, do I have to set both up? No, they're going to have the same answer, right? So you're just going to set one of them up. X plus 7 equals 0. So what does x equal?
Negative 7.
-7. So that's going to be like one of the rare situations where you only have one answer because the vertex of the graph is like sitting on the x-axis. Okay? All right, what about b? Does it equal 0? No, so what do I have to do? Yep, add 18 to the other side. So you're going to have 2a squared minus 15a plus 18 equals 0. Okay, factor the left. Is there a GCF? No, so you have to do bottoms up. So a squared minus 15a plus 36 equals 0. And then what multiplies to 36 and adds to negative 15?
Positive.
12 and 3, and then what are the signs? Yeah, they both have to be negative, yeah, to make the negative 15. So a minus 12, a minus 3 equals 0. And then what do I do?
Wait, they would both be negative?
Yeah, to make a positive when you multiply, yeah. Yep, divide by the 2. So that's going to be a minus 6, 2a minus 3 equals 0. And then from there, set up your 2 and solve. Okay, so if you're going to add 6, a equals 6. And here, add 3. Divide by 2. So a equals 3 over 2. Ooh, got it? Okay, you guys try the next one. Are we ready to go over this one? Not yet? Okay. Take your time. Okay, ready? No? Okay. Are you working?
Yeah.
Okay, keep
well,
going. You're
I can't find what goes into 72.
Look.
Or to make negative
We already, I will tell you that we already did that problem somewhere in the notes.
Oh, negative 24 and 3.
Yeah. All right, what do you guys do first on this one? What?
Oh wait, no, that I did that first too. I did that.
What do you do?
You like minus 18.
Yeah, minus 18 to make it equal 0. So 4x squared minus 21x minus 18 equals 0. Okay, is our GCF? No, so bottoms up. X squared minus 21x minus 72 equals 0. And then what are the two numbers?
Negative 24 and 3.
Yep, negative 24, 3. And then divide by what?
3, 4.
4, yep. So we have x minus 6, because that's what you multiplied by at the beginning.
So it's 4x plus 3.
Yeah. Okay, and then when you go to solve those, x minus 6 equals 0, you get x equals 6. And 4x plus 3 equals 0, you get x equals negative 3/4. Got it? Yeah? Cool.
Does it have to be negative 24?
Because it's negative 21, so that's the only way it'll add up to that. Okay, so now some ones that are just maybe a little bit weird. All right, A. What am I going to do first on A? Subtract 18x. Where am I going to put that?
Second.
Second, yes. We're going to do 2x squared minus 18x plus,
Why would you put a second?
because of standard form. Okay, do I have a GCF?
Yeah.
Yes, what is it?
2.
2. So x squared minus 9x plus 18. Okay, and then continue finding the two numbers.
See what adds to
Negative 9. And multiplies to a positive 18. Yep, negative 6 and negative 3. All right, guys, so you are going to, we have 3 pieces here now. Focus. We have the GCF, and then we have the 2 factors in the parentheses. The rule of thumb for like getting solutions and stuff like that is like all you care about for this specific skill we're working on is the stuff that has an x in it, because the x's are going to be what give us our solutions because we're trying to get it to be x equals, right? If I were to set up an equation for this piece for just 2, I would say 2 equals 0, and I would look at it and be like, you can't solve that, and just move on, okay? So we don't worry about the GCF if it doesn't have a variable in it. So you're just going to worry about those 2 equaling 0. So what is x equal?
3 and 6.
Yep, 3 and 6.
Do you have to write it like that? Can we write x equals 3 and x?
That's fine. Either way, yeah. I don't care about how you write it like on the test, and then just on Math Excel, just kind of pay attention to what they say to do. All right, what am I going to do on B?
Divide by 4.
You have to make it equal 0.
Minus 4a.
Yeah, minus 4a. So you're going to get 3a squared minus 4a equals 0. Okay, is there a GCF?
No.
Yes, what is it?
There is
A, yep. And then what's left if I divide out a?
3a minus 4.
Yep, 3a minus 4. Okay, in this case, my GCF does have a variable in it. So I'm going to use my GCF also as to set up an equation. So like the GCF equals 0 as well. So which is just a. So you'd have a equals 0. 3a minus 4 equals 0 when you set them both up. This one's already done. So it just says a equals 0. And this one you'd get a equals what? Nope. Yep, 4/3.
Wait, how do you know it's done?
Because it's just a by itself. Alrighty.
So you don't have to do like the factory now.
Nope. So you're just setting both pieces, all the pieces that you had up with its own equation equals 0. And since it was just a totally by itself, then like you're done. Let's say the GCF was like 3a. Then you would have 3a equals 0, and you'd still divide by 3 on both sides and still get 0. Okay, you guys do those last ones.
How did you get 1
Are we done? Both? Okay. I'm going to actually, some people are still working on it. Okay, so you're done. All right, let's start going over the first one. All right, what do you guys do first?
Find the GCF. Oh no, add a 3.
Add a 3x squared. Where's that going to go?
And then the top.
Yep, but like where? What do you mean?
Like the first.
First, yep. So 3x squared plus 15x plus 12 equals 0. Okay, is there a GCF? 3. All right, and then continue factoring that.
So you get negative 1 and 5.
No.
Negative 1, negative 4.
Huh?
Oh,
1 and
negative
4. No, just 1 and 4. No negative. Right? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we see how this GCF doesn't have a variable, like it doesn't have an x?
Yes, you
So we don't need to use that, only use the pieces that have an x. So x plus 1 equals 0. X plus 4 equals 0. So what does x equal? Yep, negative 1 and negative 4. Okay. Next one, what do you guys do first?
Oh, minus 6.
Mm-hmm. So you have 2a squared minus 6a equals 0. Okay, is there a GCF? Yes, what is it? 2a, and what's left? All right, in this case, does our GCF have a variable? Yes, 2a, right? So that needs its own equation. 2a equals 0. And then a minus 3 equals 0. So what does a equal for this one? 0. What about this one? Mm-hmm. Good? Okay, go ahead and do the lesson check. Okay, if you're not done, don't look. But I'm putting up the answers just for people who are done.